now there's a lot like, oh, I love the environment. Oh, I love nature, animals, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's fine. But we can do that now because nature doesn't threaten us as much. So that's an interesting thing that I think. Nature is so tamed for the human being now. We've got rid of all predators. So, and if there are predators, we put them in a zoo and we look at them or we extinct them. So you don't even have to worry really about an animal attacking you as you walk around your city, or even if you're in a rural place. It's very rare that human beings become victims of animals.
In most places in the world.
Yeah.
Let's put that in most places, not all. There are places in the world where they still do have to worry about.
Yeah, I know that you know about the wild dogs in Romania that like ate a person or something. But how common is that also,
That was Bulgaria recently.
What do you mean Bulgaria? Really?
Well, I think the latest wild dog eating episode was in Bulgaria, but Romania had still does have a big problem with wild dogs. But wild dogs aren't apex predators.
People getting eaten by animals is a really...
Just saying it happens.
It happens, but not so often.
Not very often.
And that's a thing that has changed. Because we used to be both predators, but also prey. And so this movie is an interesting thing because the guy completely abandoned society for certain amounts of time. He goes in the summer and essentially abandons the human world, which is so interesting. And so let's go into a little bit the background of human beings and nature. So for most of history, you have humans living with nature, humans living almost subjected to nature's whims. You got some kind of storm, you're screwed. It's too hot, the animals leave from where you hunt, you're screwed. You ate a bad piece of meat, you're screwed. It's just, you got next to a virus or something, you're screwed. Nature was such a presence throughout history, and only recently too. Now that the last frontier I think of where human beings are still must respect nature's dominion over us in a way is our mortality. So that's the one reminder that we are animals, is that just like every other animal, we die. We're not these kind of like demigods that we kind of are so easily able to feel immortal, especially in modern society where it's like, I have an infection. I go to the doctor. That's all fine. You got an infection like 300 years ago and you died. The end. That's it. Which is a huge difference. We were so much more vulnerable to all of the ills that nature still holds for other animals, not for us. Recently, though, which I like this, is the pandemic was such an interesting kind of mortality reminder because suddenly nature was out of control again. And this is nature. That is the last predator in a way that human beings are truly vulnerable to isn't bears or tigers or wolves or anything like this that we historically would have feared. It's invisible. It's viruses, MRSA, these things that are like, and they're antibiotic resistant to all that stuff. That's actually really scary. I'm not scared of a fucking wolf because they're not here.
You would be if you were hanging out with wolves.
Well, I don't hang out with them. If I go to see a wolf, it's in the zoo. And I'm like, oh, look at this. It's not even a predator anymore. It's like in a cage. It's like some dog or something. So it's totally different, the relationship that human beings have with animals and nature, because we have tamed it. We've controlled it. It allows us to look at it from such a different perspective than we ever did.